The Cambrian explosion was the rapid appearance of most of the major phyla that occurred over 530 million years ago. The Great Explosion of life was complemented by the major diversification of other organisms, such as animals, phytoplankton, and calcium microbes. The Cambrian explosion was important because it showcased the great ancestors of almost all the organisms that still exist today. The Cambrian explosion supports the theory that all modern phyla appeared rather suddenly. This theory was influenced by the theory of punctuated equilibrium, which states that evolution is made up of long intervals of stasis, followed by short periods of accelerated change.
Here we have a canine from the phylum Chordata. Stimulus, response. Good Chordata.
Chordates contain all four of the following at one point during their life cycle: a notochord, a dorsal, a hollow nerve cord, pharyngeal pouches, and a tail that extends beyond the anus. Facts: there are 50,000 species of chordates. Two of the three subphyla of chordates are invertebrates. The closest non-chordate relatives of chordates are the hemichordates and the echinoderms. This is a picture of Hycoichthyes, perhaps one of the oldest known species of chordates ever. It existed during the Cambrian period, or about 535 million years ago. This is a picture of the modern chordate. Chordates have been around for over 540 million years.
We are trying to find a centipede from the phylum Arthropods. Whoa, there's one right now. It's moving.
Arthropods are invertebrate animals that have an exoskeleton along with a segmented body and jointed arms and legs. Arthropods are best known for their jointed legs. There are over 1 million different species of arthropods. Facts: arthropods can have as little as 3 or as many as 400 jointed legs. They range in size from microscopic plankton to up to a few meters long. Arthropods play a large role in pollinating crops, but also spread severe diseases to livestock. Eurypterids first appeared during the Ordovician period over 460 million years ago. They are one of the biggest species of arthropods ever, and went extinct during the Permian-Triassic extinction over 251 million years ago. The lobster is a modern example of arthropods. The lobster first appeared 110 million years ago in the Cretaceous period.
Here is a present-day sea sponge in its natural habitat. It's pretty wet.
Sponges are ancient creatures that have no nervous, digestive, or circulatory systems. They rely on keeping a constant current of water flowing through their bodies in order to obtain their food and oxygen. Facts: sponges have been around since the Precambrian period. Certain types of sponges can regenerate pieces of themselves that have been broken off. Sponges can live to be over 200 years old. Sea sponges dominated the early oceans and have been around since the Precambrian period, over 635 million years ago. It has been discovered that humans and sea sponges share some of the same genes. This is a picture of a modern sea sponge called the spongia, which has been used for bathing by humans for hundreds of years because it is soft and fibrous. It is unknown when the spongia first appeared.
Here is a jellyfish from the phylum Cnidarian, resting in its natural habitat. Ow! It stung me.
Cnidarians are soft-bodied organisms that have stinging tentacles around their mouth. All cnidarians exhibit radial symmetry. Cnidarians capture and eat small animals using their stinging tentacles. Cnidarians are an ancient phylum that have been around since the Precambrian period, or over 580 million years ago. Facts: all cnidarians are found exclusively in aquatic and marine environments. There are over 9,000 species of cnidarians. All cnidarians can regenerate, allowing them to recover from an injury or to reproduce asexually. Pictured here is the Charnia, which is an ancient type of jellyfish that existed over 580 million years ago. This is one of the most ancient cnidarians. Here is a sea nettle jellyfish, which is a rather modern cnidarian that has been around for over 490 million years, since the Cambrian period.
Here's a slug from the phylum mollusks. Upon further inspections,
Mollusks are soft-bodied animals that have an internal or external shell. Mollusks are made up of 4 parts: the foot, mantle, shell, and the visceral shell. There are over 85,000 recognized species of mollusks. Mollusks are highly diverse both in an anatomy, but in their behavior too. Facts: mollusks made up about 23% of all marine organisms. 80% of all mollusks are snails and slugs. The earliest mollusks appeared about 555 million years ago. Kimberella is an ancient type of mollusk, dating back 558 million years ago. These mollusks first appeared in the Ediacean period. Sigmarithra are a modern example of the mollusk phylum. Sigmarithra have existed since the Cretaceous period, or 145 million years ago.
Here's a segmented earthworm from the phyla Annelids, and it is ready to party.
An annelid is a round, worm-like animal that has a long, segmented body. Annelids have been around since the Cambrian period, or over 518 million years ago. Most annelids move by way of peristalsis, or, in other words, they move by creating waves of contraction and expansion in their muscles. Facts: there are over 17,000 species of annelids. Annelids range in size from microscopic to up to 3 meters long. Most annelids can use asexual reproduction to regenerate lost segments or limbs. Polychaetes are a class of annelid that have been around since the Cambrian period, 530 million years ago. These annelids can live in environments with extremely high temperatures, such as near hydrothermal vents. The Echuria are a small group of marine animals. They are a modern annelid and have been around since the Carboniferous period.
Here is a tapeworm in its natural habitat of the phyla flatworms. Tapeworm.
Flatworms are a phylum of relatively simple, soft-bodied invertebrate animals. They have no body cavity and no specialized respiratory or circulatory organs. Flatworms are bilaterally symmetrical organisms, meaning that their left and right sides are mirror images of each other. Facts: over half of all known flatworms are parasitic. One disease caused by flatworms is the second most deadly parasitic virus to humans, second only to malaria. In Hawaii, flatworms were used to control populations of the giant African snail. Flatworms have been around since the Precambrian period, and scientists believe that an unnamed flatworm-like animal was the first creature to develop a head, a brain, and a tail. Clonorchus sinensis is a human liver fluke and is a modern example of the phylum flatworms. This specific type of liver fluke is currently infecting 30 million humans.
Here is a hookworm from the phyla roundworms, and we have captured it. It's in its unnatural habitat.
Roundworms are the simplest organism to have both a mouth and an anus. Roundworms are believed to be the most numerous of all multicellular animals. Over 28,000 species have been described, but there may be as many as 1 million species we don't know of. Facts: more than half of all roundworms are parasitic. The bodies of all roundworms are bilaterally symmetrical. parasitic roundworms affect much of the human population of Southeast Asia. Caenorhabditis elegans is a free-living roundworm that is found in temperate soil environments. This roundworm has been around since the Cambrian period. The hookworm is a parasitic nematode that is a relatively modern roundworm. The hookworm lives by infesting the small intestine of its host.
Here we have a starfish from the phylum Echinoderm with a whale.
Echinoderms are a phylum of marine animals. Echinoderms are found at a whole range of ocean depths, from the intertidal zone to the abyssal zone. This phylum contains about 7,000 living species. Echinoderms have many important biological niches, such as preventing algal mats on coral reef. Facts: Echinoderms have no true heart, and their blood rarely contains any oxygen. They are the largest phylum to have no member on land or in freshwater. Starfish are an ancient type of echinoderm that have been around since the Ordovician period. There are over 2,000 living species of starfish that can be found in all the world's oceans. The Ophiurida is a relatively modern order of echinoderms that make up the vast majority of living brittle stars. The Ophiurida have been around since about 360 million years ago.
Hey, I didn't see you there. Today we learned that phyla are everywhere. This has been Science with Matt Elterman. Thanks for stopping by.
And that's our conclusion for this week's edition of Science with Matthew Elterman.